Hello and welcome to Raider HQ After Dark. I'm your host Raider, and in this video I kind of wanted to address some of the comments I've been seeing about sleep apnea and kind of everybody's frustration about, can you please, you know, let me look behind the curtain and tell me why I keep getting denied? Why is sleep apnea seem to be pigeonholed behind weight gain as the only thing that the VA will want to concede it for? And I have heard you, so I am going to make a video that shows you and provides the receipts as to why a lion's share of the denials appear to be occurring. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to say that the majority of the denials have to do with how the raters are trained. Okay, and this comes down to this training website, which is for RVSRs and VSRs, which is the Medical Electronic Performance Support System. And the purpose of the Medical Electronic Performance Support System is to help individuals who have never had any medical training to be able to be on the same page, right? So that way you don't have, 2,000 different raters going to Google and just saying, I disagree with you, examiner, because that's not a cause. This is a cause. And so it's something that can be referenced from a training perspective, from a quality error perspective. You can use the medical electronic performance support system as a reason why you did or did not challenge the medical examiner on the validity and sufficiency of their medical opinion and or DBQ, right? So let me just move into this a little bit further and show you what sleep apnea looks like. Okay, so this is the page for sleep apnea. So if I, was rating a claim and I wasn't up on sleep apnea and I'm not medically inclined, I'm going to come here and it's going to give me the definitions of what sleep apnea is. And it's going to talk about obstructive sleep apnea. It's going to, it's going to say when the requirements are. It's going to talk about central sleep apnea. It's going to talk about the cause, the sign, the symptoms, the tests that are required in order to confirm the diagnosis, right? It helps the layperson understand how the things work, the treatment. What does treatment look like? In case I need to look for treatment in order to, as a VSR, this is mostly for the VSR side of the fence, for the treatment side, is to see whether or not you've had treatment for sleep apnea so I can get you an exam and an official diagnosis, And then what the residuals are and maybe special considerations. And just to bring the receipts, here's the official, letterhead thing of the Medical Electronic Performance Support System right here. So, okay, you might be going, okay, well, so far it doesn't look that bad. All right. Well, I want you to come down here with me to etiology. Etiology means cause. So every single rater is being told that these are the causes of sleep apnea, of all sleep apnea. No distinction, okay? So this condition occurs most often in fairly to severely overweight persons who usually attempt to sleep lying on their backs. That is not a passive statement. That is a very strong statement starting out at the gate, right? Like most often occurs. So right there, they've kind of poisoned the well for the raters, saying that you should, when you receive a sleep apnea claim, you should more often than not see it due to being weight gain. Like that's what the examiner's report should say. Okay, well, maybe that's not so bad. Well, then they go on and say, okay, the airway is sucked closed. They kind of give the anatomy rationale as to how it's caused, right? And then they come down here, and I hate that thing, and they say individuals with obstructive sleep apnea have narrow airways that can be associated with obesity. Okay, so here's the second reference to obesity in the training module that tells raters what the cause of sleep apnea is. Okay? But, okay, here's a deviation from obesity, but they say if you are one of the few human beings that have had your jaw shortened, then you too can also have sleep apnea. obstructive sleep apnea. But so far, nothing about central sleep apnea, right? Well, then we go here and we're like, okay, well, here's some actual diagnosis of things. So, nope. Okay, so here's the hypothyroid. So we even have screenshots. That was an accident. And okay, I'm going to hit back. Sorry about that. And I'm leaving it in because you know what? We're a high budget thing here. So hypothyroidism and the acromegaly, which is this right here, which is basically the structure of your head is bigger. So predominant forehead, enlarged nose, enlarged lips, tongue, predominant jaw and chin. These features are predisposed to have obstructive sleep apnea, right? Predisposed, not certain, not guaranteed, just predisposed. And then they also talk about myotonic dystrophy. So myotonic dystrophy can cause obstructive sleep apnea, and so can Ehlers-Danlos, the genetic disorder, and perhaps smoking, right? So you might be asking yourselves, okay, a couple of questions here. Okay, number one, well, they didn't actually say what it's not caused by, but I'm going to counter that and go, okay, well, this, raters are sometimes hammers, and these are the nails that they're looking for. Okay, and if they don't find this nail, they're not going to swing, right? So you see the training that we've had has basically conditioned newer raters, at the very minimum, to the majority of the time they're looking for these words because they're not medically inclined. They don't know the distinction that the examiner said. So your next question might be, okay, well, at least the examiners can give me a positive medical opinion and the raters will take it, right? Well, no. No, they won't. And here, if you've ever had a situation to where you have a positive medical opinion, but the rater overturned the positive medical opinion, this is one of the times that they can technically kind of do it if they want to, is that they can do what is known, and you're going to hate this term. I keep saying this term, but you're going to come to hate it, okay? Because it never is associated with anything good. Is when they go with for VA purposes. Okay, so for VA purposes, these are the causes of sleep apnea. Even though, like, the Mayo Clinic might have a different cause list, for the actual sleep apnea, that doesn't matter because for VA purposes, these are the things that cause sleep apnea, or at least we're training all of the people who make the decisions that these are the things that cause sleep apnea. So then you might go, okay, well, wait a minute. What if the examiner was really passionate about it and they fought tooth and nail to keep it? Well, unfortunately, what happens is the rater can defer it back and they can say, okay, you have an exam insufficiency. You didn't provide an appropriate rationale for why you think the condition was medically caused by, let's use rhinitis. Rhinitis caused sleep apnea. You didn't provide an efficient enough medical opinion to support your you didn't provide the rationale to support your medical opinion. And what happens is there's two different types of deferrals. There's a deferral for clarification and there's a deferral for insufficiency. If an examiner gets too many insufficient deferrals, they get reprimanded. They get too many reprimands, they get fired. So this is classic conditioning at its finest, okay? There is a punishment if they don't just go with the flow, the examiners. So if the rater says, okay, it's not for that, they can fight up to a certain point until their boss gets on them and says, hey, you're either going to do that or I'm going to write you up. And then they just bend. And it's not good. I don't like it. I accept science. I accept the reality of science. And honestly, I just wanted to kind of bring this to your guys' attention that behind the scenes, this is the give and the take that can happen. One of the things whenever I started my channel, I said I would talk about is the disposition of the process. Okay. This is the unseen disposition. There are consequences to going against the rater at times. There are consequences for the rater going against the examiner at times. But in this one, the rater would be right. They could just say, hey, look, it's not on this list. Even though we all know that mixed and central sleep apnea might not be caused by the same thing that obstructive sleep apnea is. And I get the frustration, guys. I do. I mean, valid. If I had Doug Collins's ear, oh man, it would probably get ripped off because I would have it for a long time, right? Because there are things that need to change about the process. But the reason why I'm putting these videos out is so that way you can understand. There is a reason why I go with the overweight as the cause, regardless of the diagnosis. It's because depending on who you get as your rater or who you get as your examiner, who's one insufficient exam return away from getting reprimanded, that doesn't want to get reprimanded. They like their job, right? And they just bend and buckle. So that way you understand why they're doing this, why I promote certain things, why I say that hey, the sinusitis and allergic rhinitis are not the strongest opinions to go with your secondary, because number one, it doesn't show up in the trainings. And the manual, the reason why I'm not in the manual right now is because it doesn't say anything. This is the thing, like this is the behind the scenes as to why, what we look at, how we look at things, how the non-medical people look at things and challenge the medical professionals. But anyway, so I digress. But I just wanted to bring this to your attention, kind of show you. Let me know if you want more behind the scenes kind of videos. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I always feel like I am. But you guys wanted me to, balls and strikes, and that's all I'm doing. I'm throwing balls and strikes. This isn't 100% the reason, but it is a contributing factor. If the majority of your staff are told that this is the only cause of sleep apnea, many will listen. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you watched to the end, I appreciate it more than you know. Please do all of the, the YouTubey things, like, subscribe. I am going to put out a video about the monetization, basically like a channel update. And I am going to be doing a stream video soon where I just live stream and do Q&A. And we might talk about this, like how to get around this. So let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Raider out.